Hello, Adam Tragone here, Managing Editor at Human Events. Welcome to Human Events Studios. Today we have a very special guest. It's my honor to introduce the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Mr. Ken Cuccinelli. Thank you for being here, sir.
My pleasure, Adam.
He is a new author of The Last Line of Defense, which is out now. A great read, must read for conservatives anywhere and everywhere. So thank you again for coming. The book is good. I wanted to ask you right off the bat, sir, what was your impetus for writing the book? What did you hope to get out of the book?
Right, well, about a year and a half ago, Crown came to us and approached us about the possibility of writing a book, and Brian Gottstein, my co-author, and I had been talking about the importance of these federalism fights, pushing back on the federal government, and specifically the states pushing back on the federal government, which is exactly how the founders intended things should work. But we've never had so many and so frequent opportunities as we've had in the last few years with this administration. And so we've seen the media, not surprisingly, get the story wrong with some frequency, and we think this is an important little slice of history, and we wanted to get it right and let people have a better understanding of the foundational principles that underlie our decisions to fight with the federal government on these things, whether it's health care or the EPA, which I refer to as the Employment Prevention Agency, because they're so good at that, the FCC, the NLRB, the whole alphabet soup of federal agencies, where they become so brazen in pushing and pushing and pushing, often over the legal line and trampling the Constitution. And states have a role in pushing back on that.
And there's some critics out there right now, the book just launched, some critics including the current Lieutenant Governor, who've said that releasing the book now just gives fodder for Democrats in your gubernatorial race. What do you say to those critics?
Well, he hasn't read the book, for one. And second of all, when you're in a race for any office, if you inhale, they criticize you for not exhaling. If you exhale, they criticize you for not inhaling. So whatever we do, we're going to be criticized by the Democrats. That's not a reason to do or not do anything. I've won 4 elections, including 3 of them in Fairfax County, which is the more liberal portion of Virginia, and yet I win. And I win by talking to people about how these same principles apply to transportation, apply to education, apply across the board. You know, the principles articulated in the Declaration of Independence are timeless and universal. They apply everywhere, all the time. And if you deviate from them is when you start to get into trouble from a policy standpoint, from a governance standpoint. And that sounds nice. It sounds like your 10th grade civics class. But then you've got to be able to connect that to the real world policies and explain to people what a transportation system built on a conservative philosophy looks like. And we're seeing pieces of it in Northern Virginia now come into being. And you know, that's something that we want to expand to a statewide level. And I don't think that the other side, for the 5th time in a row, will be correct in their expectations. I mean, they've outspent us in all 4 of our previous races, but we've outworked them in all 4 of our previous races. And I think you'll probably see a similar pattern here. And our record in the Attorney General's office, some of it cataloged in The Last Line of Defense, not all of it, but some of it, certainly our fights with the federal government, is part of what voters will have to digest in deciding whether they want me as their governor or not.
And Virginia's a dichotomy of views. Do you have to change your game at all because it is the governor's race to make you more electable?
You know, it's the top of the ticket. It's the highest profile race in the state. But no, you don't have to change who you are. And frankly, I think it's a bad thing to change who you are just to try and gain votes in elections. I have been told for 4 elections, either I can't win or it's going to be really tough. Well, we've won all 4 of them, including in the Attorney General's race, where I heard the same thing again and proceeded to get more votes for Attorney General than anyone in history. So, you know, I think we've pretty well debunked that. I think my record as Attorney General speaks for itself. You know, we've been talking about the federalism fights that are cataloged in The Last Line of Defense, but we've done an awful lot of other things. Everybody talks about fighting fraud, waste, and abuse. Well, we actually do it. And we're the best in the country at it in the area of healthcare fraud. We have the best unit in the country at doing that, and when I arrived, they were very good, and we sat down and put a business plan together to make them even better. And now, other states send their people to Virginia for consulting and training about how to run their healthcare fraud units even better. We've gone after more child pornographers than anyone else, internet predators than anyone else before us. We've got longer gang sentences than anyone ever before us, and we started from scratch fighting human trafficking in Virginia. So we have a lot of other things in our record to point to that I think every Virginian will appreciate.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General, for stopping by. This has been Adam Tragone, Managing Editor at Human Events.